Good morning, everyone. Now we're back with our second HubSpot user group in this year. Please feel free to type in the chat where you're from, what you're doing, and so forth, just to get everyone on board. So we both have like a general chat where you can type in your questions, but we also have a Q&A. So it's come down to whatever you prefer to use. We will take the questions at the end, but first I will cover the 10 must-have workflows for B2B SaaS companies. So just for all the newcomers today, I just want to talk to you a bit about what is the Nordic SaaS HubSpot user group. So in this HubSpot user group, we meet fellow SaaS inbounders from the Nordic countries. And what we do is that we learn from proven cases of inbound driven success. We get to share the HubSpot practices that support your growth journey. And you get to meet fellow inbounders who share industry specific challenges and aspirations. So all these sessions will be about HubSpot. Some of them will be more case based, like last time where we had an account executive from HubSpot joining us. And today we will be much more hands-on talking about workflows. So I'm Lotte and I'm the HubSpot user group leader. This is my second year leading this HubSpot user group. I'm a co-founder and SaaS lead here at Helion B2B, and I have a little over 8 years experience with both HubSpot and inbound strategy for B2B SaaS companies. So today we're going to cover first the 10 must-have workflows for B2B SaaS. That will be approximately 30 minutes, and then we will have a Q&A at the end, which will be 10 minutes. So again, if you have any questions, just feel free to type them into the chat. Okay, so when talking about workflows and building workflows in HubSpot, there is some different things that you need to keep in mind. Because there is not a one-size-fits-all approach to building workflows. There is some workflows that is, of course, more generic, that a lot of businesses, both SaaS and other industries, will benefit from. But there is also a lot of workflows that you really need to customize based on your business. So every time you build workflows, you need to think about what is your specific business goals, what is your target audience, and what are your SaaS product features. And also when building workflows, you need to remember to set goals for on-enrollment, because if you have a lot of different workflows that are live, you need to make sure that those workflows don't interfere with each other. Or if someone, let's say, books a meeting, signs up for a trial, throughout your workflow, you need to make sure that you on-enroll them so you don't keep on prompting them to make an action that they already made. So these are really some of the things that you need to keep in mind when building workflows. So we're going to start off with covering kind of some more generic workflows, but it is still workflows that I always implement with the customers that I work with and the customers that we work with here in Helion B2B. And then we're going to be very SaaS product specific in the later workflows. So first of all, marketing contact management. So if you're not on a legacy subscription, you will be paying for marketing contacts inside your CRM. So what we want to do, of course, is that we want to make sure that we only mark the contacts as marketing contacts, which we actually market to, use to send emails to, or use them as audiences for our paid advertising. So what you need to do, of course, is you can set up a workflow to make sure that if someone unsubscribes from your emails, if they bounce, or if they global bounce, you can set up a workflow to say, please mark as a non-marketing contact, because it doesn't happen by itself. So you can actually maybe have like 50 or 100 or maybe more contacts that have bounced because they changed their job, so the email address is not valid anymore, or they unsubscribe for your emails. And you need to manage this by yourself, because of course HubSpot doesn't manage it for you. And every time you go above the marketing contacts that are within your subscriptions, they will add another layer of 5K contacts. So you need to make sure to only actually pay for the contacts that you use. Also, because HubSpot actually give you the possibility to enjoy free storage of up to 15 million non-marketing contacts. So you can have a lot of contacts in your CRM system that you still use, that you still work, but that are not necessarily marketing contacts. So this is a really great workflow to keep in mind, also in terms of cutting costs on your subscription. Then moving on to lead rotation. So lead rotation is important if we want to make sure that all the leads that have progressed through the sales cycle actually gets assigned to a rep that needs to work the leads, especially if you're still a sales-led organization. And a lot of working the leads in time can actually make or break a deal. So signs up for a demo, or if someone want to book a meeting or fills out a contact form, of course we want to make sure that they are being worked really fast, and that they are being assigned to the correct rep, of course. And you have a lot of different possibilities to set up lead rotation rules. Actually, you can set up lead rotation rule based on all contact properties, both default and custom. So you can build custom properties to use for rotation as well. And all objects related to contacts. It actually just all comes down to if you collect the right data to support the sales process. So we build a lot of different lead rotation flows throughout the years. And of course, it all comes down to your sales process and your business. So you can either set up lead rotation by company size. So let's say that you have some BDRs that maybe book meetings or work through smaller businesses, and you have like account executive working more enterprise leads. Well, then you can rotate based on company size. You can rotate based on life cycle as well. So let's say you only want to rotate leads that have become sales qualified leads, because these are the leads that your sales reps need to work. Again, you can do it by location, you can do it by country, you can do it by use case or specification, by lead score, and of course also by availability. And then if you have operations hub, you can also do it by weight rules. So in that way, you can set up a lot of specific ruling of how your leads should be assigned. So lead rotation is one of the first things that I like to discuss and put in place if I work with a customer, because essentially if we're driving a lot of great leads in marketing, we want to make sure that those leads are being handled by sales and that they are handed over correctly. Moving a bit on, I also want to touch upon lead re-rotation. So again, it can make or break a deal if we don't reach out in time. So of course, a lot of prospects, they maybe fill out different contact forms. They want to get in touch with different vendors. So of course, we want to make sure that we reach out to them in time. So you can also set up rules for re-rotation. So let's say, again, someone fills out a book demo or a contact sales, and you can just see in the CRM that the salesperson that the lead is assigned to has not called them, emailed them, or put in a note. So what you can do there is, of course, you can set up rules that if this lead is not worked within 1 hour or 15 minutes or 4 hours, again, dependent on your business, then you can rotate the lead to a new owner. This is also one of the things that we most often put in place, again, to make sure that the leads are actually being worked in time. So also really great rule of thumb. So these three first workflows was more of like the basics and the generic ones that I always will recommend to put in place, especially if you're a sales-led organization. Moving a bit along and talking about lead status automation. So what we discuss often with our customers is lead status, because lead status is kind of the way we can see how sales qualified leads are being worked. So let's say that we have a sales qualified lead, and we cannot see that there has been any outreach, then we will set it to a new, and we can do reporting on, okay, how many sales qualified leads do we have that are new? And then we can have HubSpot check, is there been any sort of sales activity? Can we see any emails logged? Can we see any meetings logged? Can we see any calls logged? And we can do that based on either like the last contacted property or last activity date property. You need to keep in mind, if you use last activity, tasks will still count as a sales activity, and a lot of workflows are sending out tasks like automatically, and they will still count as touched. So often I like to use the last contacted, because then we only use like emails, we use phone calls, we use meetings to see if the lead has actually been worked by a rep. So let's say that we can see, okay, it's been worked, there's been a response, then we can automatically update the lead status to connected. If there is no response, then we can update it to attempted to contact. So again, we can do all this automated. And of course, if a deal is created, then we can set the lead status automatically to an open deal. And if there is no possibility of selling, so let's say that we created this sales qualified lead in marketing, or through a contact form, or some other more bottom funnel conversion point, it is handed over to sales, and they can see, okay, this lead doesn't fit our ICP, or we have no possibility of selling. Then they will need to update the lead status manually to unqualified. And if you would like to gather even more information about why is this lead unqualified, you can then build out a custom property with an unqualified reason that the salespeople need to update as well. So again, this is a great way to see how your leads are being worked. You can do it automatically, so the salespeople don't have to update the lead status, but it's really great for reporting. And then, of course, you can also gather a lot of great information if the leads are unqualified. What you can do as well, as you can see here, is that if I get no response and my lead status is attempted to contact, then you can actually build like an active list for reactivation or nurturing. So again, just to make sure no leads falls between the tiers, and that we always keep in mind to further nurture the leads that we have tried to reach out to. We can see them match our ICP, but we have not yet connected with them. Okay, so after we have, of course, had the lead status automation, we're working our SQLs. And of course, we want to make sure that the leads we are handing over to sales are actually being worked. Then you can build an SQL task flow. And this task flow can go on like forever, round 2, round 1, round 3, 4, 5. But what I wanted to showcase here is that if we have a lead status that is any of new, and we know who the contact owner is, so it's any of the sales team or specific contact owners, we can then start this workflow of assigning a task to the contact owner of how they need to work the lead. So let's say you have like a full-on sales process put in place. You have built out sales playbooks with specific needs, specific questions they need to answer to gather the right information. Then we can send a task to our reps saying, you have a new SQL, it's unworked. Please do the first assessment call, or send an email, or enroll in a sequence, or whatever you want to do. But here I would do like a task to contact owner to do assessment call with a link to the sales playbook, just to make sure that they actually fill out the right information. And then we can delay 1 day, or delay until event happen, of course. And then we can again check through HubSpot, has any sales activity been detected? If yes, then we can send a task to the sales rep to move on to the next stage of the sales process. In this example, that could be to book a demo or solutions meeting with the prospect, to make sure that we have a next step after the assessment call. If we have not detected any sales activity 1 day after the lead has been handed over, then we can do the second task to tell the sales rep, now you need to do your second assessment call. Again, we can send them a task with a link to the playbook. And then it can just, go on and on and on. How many times you want to send the tasks, how many times you want to follow up. Just to make sure that no leads are being unworked or anything falls between the tiers. And this can happen all automatically with HubSpot checking for, again, sales activity. When was this lead last contacted? And of course, you can also say, if you use the unqualified lead status or unqualified reason, you can add that as a rule to say, if lead status is any of unqualified, then unenroll from this task flow. And you can do that with unenrollment goals as well. Then moving on to freemium or trial activation flows. So a lot of SaaS companies, they have either like a freemium version of the product, they have a trial version. And this is a way that you can actually activate those leads that sign up for one of these different subscriptions on your platform. So let's say that you have a freemium or a trial user that signs up. Then of course we want to send them like a welcome email to make sure that we welcome them on board on the product. And then if they sign up, we can also set or define different properties. So in this example, I'd say we will set the sign up date, we will update the subscription type. So let's say this is a freemium, and we will update first login date, just to make sure, okay, when did they sign up? When did they log into the platform the first time? And what is their current subscription type? And again, a lot of these properties will be much easier to manage if you have an integration to your product. So let's say that you have actually mapped different data points inside your product with custom properties inside of HubSpot, and just let the data flow. This will make it much easier for you to build really great automated workflows inside of HubSpot. So again, if they then sign up to the product, they're in the product, we will prompt them to fill out, let's say, a goal form. So what I mean by goal form here is that we want to know what their goal is by signing up to either a freemium or free trial of your product. So let's say they have like 3 or 5 different goals to choose from in the onboarding flow when they sign up. Then you can again send an email of how to achieve your goal based on the goal that they chose inside your platform, because we have synced our platform with HubSpot. And then we can set a property inside of HubSpot. Well, this is the specific goal they have by signing up to the product. So let's say you have like translation software, and now we want to know, are your goal to translate your website, or is the goal to translate ongoing content or whatever? Then we will know because we asked them in the onboarding. While still in the platform, we can then, of course, prompt in-app to an onboarding tool, just to make sure that we do like in-app onboarding for, again, your freemium or your free trial, to make sure that they can actually maximize their usage and they get a really great sense of how they can use the tool when they sign up. Because if we have a freemium or a trial version, we, of course, want to make sure that our prospects can actually utilize the product without anyone from sales or service needs to call them up or set up meetings. We want them to explore on their own. So we want, of course, if we want them to explore on their own, we need to make sure that they actually get all the content and all the help they need in app. Then again, we can delay, or we can wait 3 days, and we can then see any product usage detected. And what I mean by product usage is, again, if we integrate our platform with HubSpot, we can set up different usage tiers that we will look for. So again, back to the example with translation software, we can then see, okay, how many words have been translated? Have they created any projects? There could be a lot of different things here. Have they used the AI to generate content and so forth? So if we can see that has been product usage detected, we can see that in HubSpot. Then we can send them, check out our knowledge base email. So here is all the help you need to maximize usage of the product. Again, we can set like a property called active freemium on trial to yes. And if you work with product qualified lead, you can also here update the lifecycle stage to product qualified, because they started using our product. If we, after these 3 days, have not detected any usage, then we will enroll them in the next workflow I will touch upon, which is a reactivation workflow. And then we can set the active freemium or trial to no. And again, if we have usage, then we can check have they reached the usage limit, and then that is workflow number 8, where we can actually use these usage limits to detect if there is any possibility for new sales or upsell. Also, if they're on a current subscription and they're reaching the limit within that current, we need to upgrade them to a another subscription where they have more usage of the product. So let's say that a user signed up and we have not detected any usage within 3 days. Then we, of course, want to make sure that we engage them and we try to get them back into the platform to make sure that they're actually utilizing our platform, so they can become paying customers, of course, at some point. So if we have active freemium or active trial equals no, then we need to do some sort of reactivation. And again, this is just an example, but let's say we then send them, it could both be on email, of course. We send them like a pain point number 1, use us instead email. So if this is your current pain point, this is how you can utilize our SaaS product to do better work or to maximize your time or whatever. Then we can wait 2 days again, and then we can send pain point number 2, how we can help you email, and then 2 days again, and then use cases in your industry email. So you can build out like a whole lead nurturing flow to get them back onto the platform. But when you're building out that workflow, we of course need to check, is there any usage detected? Because if, again, we have usage detected, we don't want to keep on sending them the emails. So again, setting up goals on the workflows to make sure that they unenroll when they do the activation that we want them to do. So again, we will still be checking for any product usage detected. If yes, then we can send them receive how to maximize your usage email. We can again now set the active freemium or trial to yes. We can update lifecycle stage to product qualified, and we can update recent login date. Just an example. If we still don't have any usage detected after 6 days and 3 lead nurturing email, we can try and send them a special voucher email. So again, back to my example with translation, now you get X amount of words for free, or now you get X amount of whatever for free, just to try one last time to prompt them to go back into the SaaS platform. Again, we will delay or wait 3 days, and again, see is any product usage detected. And of course, if we have detected product users, we can send them how to maximize the email. We can update the properties. But if we don't detect any product usage, we can send them a breakup email, and then of course also send up like a very short feedback service of why didn't you use the product, or is there anything we can do better, or whatever. And you can build that also if you have Service Hub, and you can just build them right into the emails. They could just tap in the survey that you build, just to make sure that we will actually gather information of why they didn't use the product in both the freemium or the free trial version. Okay, so let's say after we have activated our freemium or our free trial users, and we have looked for, are they reaching their limit? So again, let's say we have set up 3 or 5 different limits within the platform, and the platform syncs to HubSpot and updates these properties in real time. So we will have a workflow check-in, are they reaching their usage limits? And of course, the usage limits is of course set by you, because you know your product and you know what is the limit to upgrade. When have they been active enough so we can get them to sign up for a paid subscription? So let's check, is their usage limit reached? Yes, then we can send them an email and introducing our different subscriptions. And we can set the life cycle stage to sales qualified, because now we know they went from being active in the product. So now they went from being product qualified to actually sales qualified, because now they have maxed out their usage and now they're ready to upgrade, or they cannot use the product anymore, right? And if they don't reach their usage limits, we can try to prompt them to do so. So if we have a lot of active freemiums or active free trials, we can see they use the product, but they have not maxed out their usage yet, and we want to prompt them a bit to become paying customers. We can then try to nurture them to use some different functionalities beside the goal that they gave us in the onboarding flow, right? So now we can send them give them a USP to try this functionality. And then we can send them a new email to try another functionality, because usage limits can be set on different levels. So if you have like 3 or 5, but you have a user that only works like within one of these usage tiers in the platform, of course, then we will try to make them, use even more of your SaaS product. So if they then are close to reaching their limits, we can prompt them, of course, also in-app to upgrade. So if your product is, of course, ready to do in-app payments so they can upgrade by themselves, you can prompt that. Or you can send a task to your contact owner, say that the usage limits has reached. So they will need to take on the sales from here. And again, we can delay or wait 2 days, and then we can see, do they actually upgrade in platform? So either do they upgrade in platform by themselves, is if our platform can do that, or have our salesperson owning this lead made them upgrade, right? So if they upgrade, of course, thank you for your subscription, XYZ, maybe even more onboarding material, payment terms, whatever. And then set the lifecycle stage to customer. And if they don't upgrade by themselves, even though they have reached their limit, we can send them need help to upgrade email, or explain our different subscriptions. And again, send a task to the contact owner to follow up, just to make sure that we actually try to have them on a paid subscription, and that they just don't disappear after they have spent all the usage in the platform on the freemium or the free trial version. And again, all these workflows are just examples. They need to be tailored to your product, to your business, to your ways of working. If you're like purely sales led, or you're like half sales led, half product led, so your product can drive a lot of leads, but you still need a salesperson to actually convert them, or it's 100% product led and everyone should upgrade by themselves in platform. We still need to make sure to send like tasks to service teams, just to make sure that they actually get the help they need if they don't upgrade by themselves. So there is a lot of different use cases for these workflows, but they just need to be tailored to both your product and your business. And then there is some different generic pipeline and sales automation that I always like to implement. And I just wanted to give you like a little intro to some of them. So what I normally do is that if I can see there has been no next activity date on a deal, then I will notify the deal owner to log next steps. So is there like a meeting in the future? Is there a task in the future or whatever? But we don't want deals lying around where we don't know what is the next thing that will happen on this deal. Of course, also if life cycle stage is sales qualified lead and the lead stage is attempted to contact, then maybe we should a follow-up task in 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days, just to make sure that even though we try to call them once, we do it twice, and we do it the third time and the fourth time. Actually, there have been studies that you need to call 6 times before you will get through to your prospects. So it will take some time to do it. Then, of course, also if deal stage is any of closed loss, then we can set the life cycle stage back to MQL. We can wipe the lead stages to allow new leads to re-enter the funnel. So on the next slide, I will talk a bit about actually closed loss deals and what we need to do with them. And then, of course, if deal inactivity is any of 7 days, it can also be 3 or 4 days, then notify a deal owner to log next step. So this means nothing have happened on the deal for 7 days. And again, if deal stage is closed 1, then we can set the contact and the company to customer, of course. So what should we do when we lose our deals? Because does a lost deal mean lost forever? Well, not in all cases. A lot of deals are often lost, due to bad timing, missing integration, or whatever. So again, if you're really good at collecting data on why you lose your deals, with closed loss reasons and even also expanded closed loss reasons, you can do a lot of great automations to try to re-engage these lost deals. So determining a strategy for lost deals management is almost as crucial as your lead gen strategy, because these deals you have worked, you have talked to them, you have demoed, if it's just a budget thing or if a stakeholder thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this deal is lost forever. So again, just an example, if deal stage is any of closed lost in a specific pipeline and the loss reason is any of bad timing, then we can check for extended bad timing reason. So again, I have different customers where we have the lost reasons, but maybe we have like 3, 4, 5 lost reasons, but we also have an expanded reason for each of these reasons. So like a sub reason, just to make sure that we can tailor our workflows even better and we can do even better follow-up. This also ties back to if you're doing like integrations to your platform or missing features, then you can do like re-engagement campaigns to prospects that you lost due to a specific integration, because now you have that integration. So again, a lost deal doesn't mean lost forever. But in this example, let's check for extended bad timing reasons. So we have 3 extended reasons here. We have either send it back to marketing. If that is being chosen by the sales rep, then we can enroll them in a generic lead nurturing flow to determine timing, just to make sure that we send them some content, we invite them to webinars, all that kind of stuff, that we are still working the leads. And then of course we will have all the data in HubSpot and we have the lead score, so we can determine, okay, when are they hot enough to be worked. And then if bad timing reason is any of sales contact in 3 months, then we can delay for 3 months, and then we can assign the task to a contact owner to follow up on past engagements. And the same goes with 6 months. Just to make sure that we actually remember to follow up on the leads that say, no, it's not a good timing now. Can we talk in like 3 months, 6 months, 2 months? In this example, we send the task to the contact owner, but if you have like a BDR team or you have someone booking meetings, you can also clear the contact owner and then send a task back to your BDR team to call up, go through all the information on the company contact timeline, and then try to set up a new meeting after 3 or 6 months. So these were the 10 workflows that I brought today. Again, as I said before, these are just examples. They need to be tailored to your business and to your product, but I hope it gave some great inspirations. And now we will jump into the Q&A. Let's see here. So we have one question. We have the users updated from our learning platform. We trigger the workflow directly, not updating a field that would trigger the workflow in HubSpot. I think this is a better option as some of the limits are reset every month. What are your approach to this? Okay, so this is also a great question. If you have like limits that are being reset month over month, even though it's a freemium or free trial subscription, this is a great way to do it, as Christian said. But if you have a freemium or free trial version where you have a specific usage limits that is not being reset month over month, you can do it by sending that information into a property directly into HubSpot, just to make sure that the workflows are detecting the specific usage and not the usage that is being reset month over month. How are you securing fallback solutions in the workflows where it is very dependent on the sales reps using a specific process for the workflow properties, if then logic to work? Sales reps calling outside HubSpot using their own phone despite the process. not setting a last connected property to logging a call. This is just a use case of enforcing adoption process, or can you build other or similar feedback solution? Yeah, so also a great question. So of course, this is the most easy way is of course integrating into HubSpot. So if they use their phone, not calling through HubSpot, or using like air call, which is again being logged automatically, then we of course are dependent on actually the reps um, putting in that they called, or just putting in a note, or anything else. So one of the ways that you can do this, and again it's back to processes, and it's back to HubSpot is only as good as the data that goes into HubSpot. You can try to use some of the other great tools in like this in the sales part of HubSpot. So let's say that in your process they need to fill out like a playbook. So every time they are on a call with their phone, they know in the first call I need these 5 specific questions to be answered. Then they will type that into the playbook in HubSpot, even though they're on the phone. Then we will still detect that the lead was worked, but it was not a phone call that was logged. So there is some ways to do it, but it all comes down to the processes and the nudging of the sales reps. So what I would like to do often, just to make sure that they actually follow the processes, is also that I build reports, so I can see which properties have not been updated or is unknown based on that specific contact owner or deal owner, just so I can, like say, when we sit in a sales meeting, so rep 1, 2, and 3, you have like free leads that where this property has not been worked, or we cannot see XYZ. So it's also a way to use reports to make sure that they actually fill out the data that they need to do. But again, with sales reps, you don't necessarily want to overcomplicate things. So I think it's also really important that you invite them to be part of the process, that they buy into the way that the CRM is set up, like they buy into all the data you want to collect, and then start, like small, and then build from there. So once they get used to working in HubSpot, once they start to fill out some of the properties, on deal stages or whatever, then you can build from there and actually make sure that they, nudge them to give even more information. The same goes with the closed loss reasons. You don't necessarily need to put in extended reasons from a start. But again, if you want that data, in product feedback, or you want that data in marketing to build even better campaigns, we also need to make sure that there is some data discipline. Another way to make sure that you don't have your sales rep to put in, like loads of information, is that you then buy like a third-party data enrichment tool. There is a lot of different ones out there. There's Apollo, Vino, Clearbit. There is a lot of different ones that ties directly into HubSpot, integrates directly into HubSpot. So you can actually have those third-party data vendors updating a lot of properties. So you're not depending on sales to do it. That can be like industry, it can be turnover, all that kind of different information, and you can build your workflows based on that as well. So there is also another great way to make sure that the data you actually get in the platform is valid data, because HubSpot only is as good as the data that gets into the system. And that's also why you need to make sure that if you build like bigger and bigger workflows and more specific product workflows, you need to make sure to set up the rules on how to actually unenroll them, because we don't want to keep prompting them to log in if they actually get back into the platform. And I see a lot of times that people, they kind of forget that they need to set up criteria of when to unenroll, or if they're in this workflow, they cannot be enrolled in this specific workflow. And you can build that inside the workflows. So we don't like bombard them with emails and the salespeople with tasks as well. Great. I think that was the questions and that was the session for today. Thank you so much for joining. We hope to see you on the other side of summer vacation, and you will get an email with the next subject that we're going to discuss. Thank you.